Hello everyone, and welcome to my OI and our American TV show official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. At Society, Nick asks an agitated Phyllis what's going on. She shakes her head. Daniel and Lucy. This is a nightmare. They've lost the center of their existence and can't even grieve because her son is being blamed for Heather's murder. Nick questions how this is possible. Phyllis says the forensics team wants to search the apartment, so they had to get out. She wonders whether he can fathom having to tell her devastated grandchild that her father is being blamed for murder. Nick wonders what was found in the apartment. Phyllis says they found Heather's phone and some bloody towels that had been planted there. Nick questions how that is possible. Phyllis answers, "I don't know. Why don't you ask Sharon?" Nick asks why she believes Sharon would know stuff. Phyllis begs him not to be naive about Sharon and what she's capable of. He told her that she was mentally unstable. Nick adds the past 2 weeks have been stressful for Sharon, who was provoked by Lucy and Fate's accident, and by Daniel. She has to analyze her thinking. Phyllis exclaims that she doesn't care about Sharon's thinking. She's sick and tired of everybody tiptoeing around about how Sharon's going to respond and worried about her being unstable. Sharon killed Heather. Period. Nick informs Phyllis that it isn't doing anyone any good for her to stir the pot. Phyllis thinks Sharon hates Daniel and blames him for Cassie's death. She wants Daniel to endure the same sorrow, so she killed Heather. She's attempting to save herself, so she's framing Phyllis's son, who would never hurt anyone, but she's trying to make him look guilty for killing the woman he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. Nick thinks this is absurd. Phyllis asks if Sharon told him that she went to Daniel and Heather's apartment the night that Heather died. She didn't say anything to Lucy or Daniel, but she ultimately fessed up to the cops. Nick asks Phyllis if she's addressed Sharon about this. Phyllis would want to face that bitch, but she told Daniel she wouldn't. Nick says that's wonderful because that would be the last thing Sharon needs right now. Furious, Phyllis can't believe her kid is being framed and faces life behind bars, while Nick's more worried about Sharon's feelings. "I don't want to talk to you." Nick follows her to the bar. He's concerned about both of them, but there's no way Sharon did this. Phyllis asks who did it then. Nick encourages her to let Chance handle it with his inquiry. Phyllis can't since his probe is moving right into her son. At Daniel's flat, Chance turns on the light and looks around. 2 CSI members step in behind him as he gazes at a framed portrait of Daniel and Summer. He shows them where he discovered the towels and phone. He explains that whoever did this was in a hurry and there's likely more evidence. It's vital that they're thorough and get this correctly. After a while, one of the CSI guys tells Chance, "We've got something." Sharon opens her door to Daniel. She asks how he's doing. Daniel continues, "You came to my house the night you saw Heather. What did you want?" She allows him in, and he asks whether she'll answer his inquiry. Sharon claims she had previously apologized to him, and she wanted to show the same courtesy to Heather and Lucy. Daniel questions her just showing up at the apartment. Heather must have been astonished. Sharon says he was, but she accepted her apologies. She seemed on edge, so she asked her about it. It was almost as though she couldn't hold it in. She blurted out that the two of them had had a nasty argument. Daniel squints. What else did she say? Sharon says not much. Daniel questions her not saying anything to him about this. Sharon didn't want him to be reminded that the last time he saw her alive, they were arguing. Daniel insists it's not true. The last time he saw Heather, he kissed her goodbye and told her he loved her. Something is very off here. Sharon says Heather was afraid of him. Daniel replies that is just not feasible. Daniel tells Sharon she had to go to the police and tell them there was no way Heather was afraid of him. Sharon doesn't like his tone. Daniel thinks that's rich. He's fighting for his life here. Sharon asks if the cops suspect him. Daniel says they do. Her fleeing to the cops with her phony talk with Heather hasn't helped him a lot. Sharon was merely attempting to aid the police. Daniel asks how a false conversation might help. He finds it very hard to believe that it never entered her mind that the cops wouldn't instantly what she wanted. Sharon denies it. Daniel says someone hurt Heather, and it was nasty. Was it you? Did you damage her? Sharon can't believe he'd ask her that. Daniel claims the cops are asking him the same question, and he hasn't once displayed the degree of wrath that she showed toward Heather and Lucy that previous several weeks. Sharon says she let things get out of hand. She was in agony and enraged and regrets her actions. That's why she wanted to apologize. Daniel says it doesn't mean that's the way it played out. Did Heather offend her? Did she attack her? Sharon would never injure the woman he loves, much less kill her. She asks if there have been any fresh developments or if the cops have uncovered proof. Daniel won't get into that with her. Had he packed up his family and departed, Heather would still be alive. That's something he has to live with for the rest of his life. Sharon's sorry. Daniel claims his kid is shattered and wants her dad. I can't be locked up. Sharon urges he attempt to get some rest and try to find some tranquility. He's being crazy and desperate. Daniel squints. By coming over here, that's what you're saying, right? Sharon tells him that what he's accusing her of couldn't possibly be real. In society, Nick tells Phyllis she had to stop with these outrageous allegations. Phyllis can't sit back and let her son go to jail. Nick argues this isn't fair to Sharon. Phyllis scoffs that he's so brainwashed by her. Nick says, just leave her alone. I'm serious. Stay away from her. In Daniel's apartment, Chance puts an ultraviolet light on the floor and sees where the puddle of blood laid. He asserts that Heather was bludgeoned there and her body thrown into the river. He uses the light on a statue of an octopus and declares he's located the murder weapon. He wraps it up as the final autopsy report comes in showing odd marks on the back of the victim's head. He's convinced they'll match up. Just then, Chance gets a call from Phyllis, who wants to meet up. She has information he'll find beneficial. Chance isn't sure he has time right now. Phyllis tells him to make time and meet her at Crimson Lights. Chance encounters Phyllis in a booth at Crimson Lights. She says he knows Daniel and must know he is innocent. She asks about the search. Chance can't tell her anything and asks her to let the police do their job. Phyllis can't do that if the police are constructing a case against her son. She thinks the evidence was planted at Daniel's flat. Sharon saw Heather at that apartment the night she died. She lied and didn't inform anyone about that. Why is that fact not given the same weight as everything else? She's sure that with some investigating, that fact will show Sharon as the killer he's seeking for. Chance feels there's no way Sharon is capable of murder. Phyllis sighs. You dated her, didn't you? She argues the same thing may be said of her son. Phyllis wonders if he knows what Sharon has done in the past. Chance knows, but he's also aware of what she's pulled off. It's no secret how far she's willing to go, especially when her kids are in trouble. At Sharon's apartment, she tells Daniel not to go to a dark place. She's been there and almost lost everything. His family will get him through this. Daniel says he should go and maybe shouldn't have come in the first place. He walks out. Sharon unravels and Cameron arrives to tell her to get a hold of herself. If she loses it now, there's no coming back. Sharon yells. Daniel asked me straight out if I hurt Heather. Cameron says she played it wonderfully, but she worries he'll still suspect her. Cameron says suspicions are all he's got. She planted enough evidence to bury him in prison for the rest of his life. I promise you, this is almost over. Daniel sits down in the club, and his iPad rings. It's Danny, who wants to know how he's doing. Daniel says, not good. Danny assures him he'll go home as soon as he has arrangements for Heather's service. Daniel's not even sure when that will happen now. Danny asks what's going on. Daniel says everything's a disaster and he could really use his help. Danny adds that whatever he needs, he's there. He offers to cancel the trip and come home to assist him to do that. He needs to protect Lucy from what's ahead and wants to send her out to be with him on tour for a few weeks. Danny would be glad to have her, but he needs to know the circumstances. Daniel claims there's proof that Heather's death wasn't an accident. The suspect is being framed. He begs him to talk to Christine to ask her if she can come back there and protect him. Danny's astonished as he realizes that the culprit is his son. At Sharon's place, she places logs in the fire and flashbacks to dragging Heather's body out of the flat and dumping it in the river. As she cries, she hallucinates Nick there offering to help her construct a fire. He senses something's bothering her and wants her to talk to him. He reminds her of all the catastrophes they've been through together. "I can't help you if you don't tell me what's going on with you." She says she made a mistake. Nick assures her they've made lots of errors and they're always forgiven. Cameron appears and cautions her not to let Mr. Warm and Fuzzy to induce her to drop her guard and disclose her guts. She'll be screwed royally. Sharon tells him to get away. Cameron informs her that he's led her every step of the way and is making sure she has the life she desires. Sharon screams, "I am not this person. This is not me. I'm a wonderful person." Cameron jokes that she believes telling Nick will cure things. Does she imagine he'll run to her rescue? He tells her she's weak and too lovesick to see straight. If she acknowledges it cold, hard reality, she is done. At Crimson Lights, Chance continues to defend Sharon to Phyllis, who points out she was attacking Heather, Daniel, and Lucy for weeks. How is she not a suspect? Chance maintains she's not a suspect. She accuses him of being biased. Chance claims it's not personal. He's doing his job. He gathers evidence, analyzes it, and follows where it goes. His phone rings and he steps away. Phyllis follows him to the terrace and asks whether there is anything in the search that can prove Daniel's innocence. Chance will only say, "You'll know soon enough." At the club, Danny is furious on the video call with Daniel. "This is crazy. Of course you didn't kill Heather." Daniel needs to get Lucy out of town so she doesn't witness him in cuffs and on trial. Danny's convinced it will never get that far. Daniel has to prepare in case it does. Danny discovers that they've been ordered to leave their apartment and are staying at the club, and thinks this is lunacy. Daniel can hear Lucy screaming at night and wants to tell her everything will be okay, but he can't do that. Danny wants to get on the next aircraft home, but Daniel says no. He asks his father to tell him that he'll take Lucy. Danny accepts, but he wonders what proof the police have against him. Daniel claims it's substantial enough that he's expecting a knock on his door any time. Christine should get there as quickly as possible. In Sharon's living room, she protests to Cameron that Nick would help her out of this. Cameron's confident when he hears that she discarded Heather's body and framed Daniel. He won't aid her. "I'm the one rescuing you, not Nick. Me. Nick will go directly to the cops, and then where are you gonna be, huh?" Sharon complains that this needs to cease now. "I need to make things right." Cameron tells her she needs him. Hallucinated Nick stands up and tells Sharon that whenever she wants to talk, he's right there. She says, "I do." Suddenly, a knock shocks her out of it. It's Nick at the door. She shouts, "I can't do this. I can't handle it anymore." So what do you guys think about this update? Let me know in the comment below. And if you like my videos, please press like and subscribe for more. I will see you guys next time.